Just wanted to touch base and thank you for your time last week during the course. I certainly gained lots from the course and look forward to putting my learnings into practice for both speaking engagements, day-to-day activities in our business. Thanks again, mate.
Steve Jobs was renowned for his ability to go out and inspire and motivate staff, investors, designers and Joe Public to go out and achieve bigger and better things. The way Jobs went around doing this was to not build himself up and say that I'm bigger and better and I've got all the answers. He used a genuine personal storytelling technique that engaged the audience and made them want to go forward. I found one of his most famous presentations to a university graduation in 2005, and I pulled it apart to show you how he goes about sharing his way of motivating people. This first bit of footage is from the very beginning of the speech. Have a quick look at it and I'll come back to you after that. Take a quick look.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation.
How did Jobs open that presentation? Well, other than the "it's great honour to be here," he shared with the audience a position of weakness of his. Truth be known, I never graduated from college. Here he is, the CEO of one of the world's most influential companies, opening with a weakness with his audience. What is the idea behind that? If you want to motivate your staff, motivate your team, motivate anyone, you need to build a connection with them. If he came out and said, I've done this, I've done that, I've done the next thing, what happens is he becomes out of reach for the audience. But when he stands up there and says, I dropped out of college, that bonds directly with every single graduate in that audience, because at one stage or other, they would have considered dropping out of college as well. It shows a level of vulnerability. And when you show your audience you're vulnerable, they will bond to you because they too are vulnerable. This next little bit of footage comes straight after the part you've just seen. And it talks about what he's going to say. Take a quick look. Hey, Job.
Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why'd I drop out? It started before I was born.
The secret that Jobs uses to connect with the audience is he tells stories. That's all of this 15-minute video is, just 3 continual stories. Now, without going into the structure of what's required in stories, the way he opened it was very simple. I'm going to tell you a story about connecting the dots. Then he goes on to tell us why that story about connecting dots is important. This little bit of footage you're about to see now is at the end of the first story. Take a quick look and it'll show you how he wraps it all up. Here it is.
If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
Jobs mentioned at the start of the story about connecting dots, and then didn't talk about dots at all, and then brought the dot back in at the end. Connecting the dots was the point to his story. And the point to his story was, it's only by looking back that you can connect the dots. He told 3 stories in that 15-minute presentation. And he connected with his audience and he challenged them and encouraged them to go out and become even more, to take a risk, to follow your heart. When you want to inspire people and motivate them to go out and achieve what you know they can, tell them stories. Share some vulnerability that you have. And that will build a connection between you and your audience. And it'll make them follow your message with much more ease and more credibility, so you can become the leader that you know you can be.
Hi Darren, I just wanted to touch base and thank you for your time last week during the course. I certainly gained lots from the course and look forward to putting my learnings into practice for both speaking engagements and day-to-day activities in our business. Thanks again, mate. See ya.